Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video, and if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this and I didn't, please drop that same question again and put repeat question and it will get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. Before we get started, we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Planet Protectors. If you guys need cases for any type of collectible, Planet Protectors has got you covered. They have cases for action figures, comic books, diecast, Funko Pops, trading cards, and video games. And when it comes to the trading card cases, they have so many. They just added a ton more, so they got all the booster bundles, the ultra premium collections. They even have the Celebrations Pokemon Center ETB, which is a completely different ETB. And you can go cheaper, where you're paying literally a couple dollars a case, or you can get the more expensive acrylic cases. And then too, if you hit my link in the description, you'll receive 10% off your first order of $50 or more. So definitely check them out. You will not be disappointed. All right, first question is from Matt D. Schultz. Oh, holiest bearded one, keeper of knowledge and all things true. What are your thoughts on trading PC ETBs for booster boxes, assuming the value is equal currently? Do you believe in PC ETBs long term, or do you think the best move is to focus more on booster boxes from the heavy hitting sets? So we are going to check out the top 3 performing Pokemon Center ETBs and the top 3 performing booster boxes from the Scarlet and Violet era. So we got the Paldea Evolved Pokemon Center ETB. Last sold 389, 350, 367. Now I actually added the top 4 for the Pokemon Center ETBs just because Paldea and Fates is really close to Paldea Evolved now. So they're kind of tied. Last sold for Paldea and Fates 380, 395, 375, 365. So they're neck and neck now. Next, we have Obsidian Flames, Pokemon Center ETB. Last sold 470, 495, 466. And remember, these are $60 on the Pokemon Center website. Next, we have 151. Last sold 900, 925, 959. Then they got one with a picture with a small tear at $834. Now let's check out the booster boxes. We have Twilight Masquerade. Last sold 285, 285, 282. Now, if we base it off of MSRP, which is like 160, it's not up a ton, a little over $100, but we can even do it. Let's say all booster boxes are $100, which is what they used to be. Next, we have Destined Rivals. Last sold for this is 320, 320, 316. And the most expensive Scarlet and Violet booster box is Paldea Evolved. Last sold 369, 380, 375. So yeah, when it comes to the top performing sets, it's not even close in the Scarlet and Violet era. But if we look at the Sword and Shield era, the booster boxes are winning, but you got to think they do not have promos. And then also, these are new still. This is the first era we've ever gotten Pokemon Center ETBs with these stamp promos, and Pokemon Center ETBs just started in the Sword and Shield era. So I have very high hopes for them. When I'm vending and someone brings me a really clean Pokemon Center ETB, I'm buying it and keeping it pretty much every single time. Especially if it's really, really minty, because a lot of them just get dinged up just getting shipped to your house. Same thing with the PC promos, I'm keeping all those. In my opinion, the biggest thing about all this is just think about all the distributors out there, all the online stores, all the crazy seal collectors and investors that are sitting on, hundreds and hundreds of booster boxes. Some even have thousands and thousands, like Alpha Investments and like PokeNotify and stuff. They're not sitting on thousands of Pokemon Center ETBs because you can only get them on the Pokemon Center website. You can't get them at Walmart or Target or every single LGS on the planet like all the other products. So it's the only somewhat exclusive thing that we get. So yeah, I'm a big fan, and I would totally be down with trading, a booster box for a Pokemon Center ETB, because I feel like our odds of being able to get booster boxes in the future would be a little bit better than Pokemon Center ETBs. And yes, we do get random restocks of Pokemon Center ETBs sometimes. As you guys have seen, they go pretty quick on the Pokemon Center website, especially if it's like a little restock or anything like that. Then it goes super fast. If it's, a brand new set and it's the first time, you usually have a decent amount of time to hop in the queue and get it. All right, next is from @Jack Lynch. Yo, Beard, give us your top 5 favorite Pokemon cards of all time. What's your all-time Grail card? So we'll run through this quick. The first edition base set Dragonair. I love vintage. You got to think, modern cards, the art is better, but some of these cards I chased for 20 years. So they have a ton of meaning to me. Next, we have the first edition Lugia. Without this card, I probably would not be sitting here today doing this. I'd be doing something completely different. And this is the card that I have in the back of my phone. I have quite a few of them, but I was able to sell one of these during the first COVID boom, graded in a 10, and it basically changed my life. So I owe everything to that card. Next, we have the first edition Shadowless base set Charizard. Now, this is a card I chased my entire life. I finally have one. I would love to have a much cleaner version, It's such a cool card to have, and like I said, I chase it forever. Now, one of my favorite Japanese cards is the Korokoro Mew. Absolutely love this thing. The sparkle on it, you know, the shiny Mew. It's so nice. And then my favorite modern card would probably have to be the Suicune V. I mean, this card is actual perfection. You cannot find one thing wrong with this card. You know, it looks pretty realistic. The background is perfect. I'm from Minnesota, so I love all the snow stuff. It's just everything to me. And my Grail card, I would love to get like this Blastoise test print where it actually has the Magic the Gathering on the back, Pokemon in the front. I think that'd be super cool. Because I've been playing Magic the Gathering my whole life too. My brother is obsessed with Magic like I am with Pokemon. So, you know, he was the Magic guy, I was a Pokemon guy. So I think it'd be really, really cool to have this one day or anything like this. There's a few different kinds where there's like Magic stuff on it. But all right, next is from at 33piece. For the bearded veteran of Victory Road, whisper to the legendary birds, Slayer of the Shadow in Cerulean Cave, last to battle red and walk away, chosen by Arceus, friend of ghost types and bearer of the beard that never faints. What would be your top 5 underrated and or undervalued cards that you'd recommend grabbing ASAP? Thanks. When me and Mrs. Beard read that, we were literally dying laughing. So I'm just going to give you one because I'm going to do my Sleeper Sunday this Sunday, so I'm going to put a bunch of cards on there, so definitely check that out. But I like the Ninetales in a PSA 10. This card got up to about $350. Right now it's at $178. It's pretty tough to grade. I mean, there's 3,889 in a 10, 8,525 in a 9, and there's 2,630 in an 8. Not to mention, I've never heard anybody say they do not like Ninetales, and the art is impeccable. And last sold in a 10, 180, 199, 200, 203, 167. Did get down to about 160. And then before it had the big spike, it was sitting around $120. So if you think about it, it's really only up, you know, $50, $60 from our 1 year low, which was before our big boom. So I think that's a pretty solid buy. Next is from at C Malone 4838. Hey, the dad from How to Train Your Dragon Beard. I was wondering what your views were on 2024 illustration contest cards, the Pikachu for Alligator Toxtricity and PSA 10s. Do you think they're solid pickups and good long-term investment? What are your thoughts on the cards? Love the vids. So I think the Pikachu's pretty nice. I think the for Alligator is like $3, $4 and the Toxtricity is literally like $1 or $2. I do wish this was an illustration rare just because there's so many people out there that only collect special illustration rares or alternate arts to where they would maybe never even collect a card like this. And then you got to think it's not an English exclusive also. And you also have to remember we are in a promo boom right now, so it might not be the best idea to buy some of these cards. And I'm much more of a fan of, like I said, you know, getting some raw cards and getting them graded because the card is so affordable. But I'm always thinking about that. Someone who just buys the PSA 10, you know, which is super easy. You just sit on it, enjoy it, versus someone who hunts and tries to find a bunch of raw, clean copies of that card and gets them graded, also spends $200. But now they have, you know, 7 Pikachus out getting graded. You know, who's going to end out on top? And if you are going to buy a bunch of raw cards to get them graded, please be picky. Otherwise, you're just wasting money. Next is from Matt. Got away with murder. Big Beard question. What do you think about the Radiant cards? Radiant Charizard, Eevee, Greninja, etc. So I actually love little subsets like this, especially when they're cheap. If you guys are collecting cards, these are some of my favorite things to collect because you don't have to spend very much money. And then you have every single Radiant card for the Sword and Shield era. So it's just a cool little subset to complete. Doesn't cost you very much. And you never know what happens. Some of these Radiant cards in the future could pop off. We have seen it time and time again when cards that used to be hated, you know, do really good in the future. So it's definitely possible. And like I said, it just doesn't cost very much. So it's such low risk. Next is from Scoring Lemon. Beard, what do you think about Hidden Fates Eeveelutions? Some are under 200 in a PSA 10. With Hidden Fates ETBs finally getting down, do you think that these could rise soon? So let's check them out. We got the Umbreon GX. So this got down to $160 in a PSA 10 in 2023. Got up to $452 in February 2025. Got down to $366, and it's coming up again right now. Last sold $405, $471. And the all-time high for this card was $587 in 2021. That was during our first boom. And then we have the Espeon here. Love this shiny card. The all-time high for this was $329 in the 10. Got down to $88. And coming up again right now, last sold $224, $249, $225, and $240. And the pop for the Espeon is $4,900. And then in a 9, it's $24.55. Now for the Umbreon, the pop is $5,700. and for a 9, 3,800. So not super tough to grade, and there's a decent amount of them, not as much as, you know, Sword and Shield alternate arts and stuff like that. And now that Hidden Fates is pretty expensive, it's not going to be open nearly as much. So I could see a couple of these, you know, going up in price a little bit, but you have to keep in mind, they have to compete with all the Evolving Skies Eeveelutions, and then they have to compete with all the new Prismatic Eeveelutions, and I'm sure we're going to get another Eeveelution set next year, whenever it is, in Gen 10 or something. You never know, we could get a Mega Eeveelution set, which would be absolutely insane. But right next is from Gary Burkholder. What are the names of the Chinese sets you recommended with the Eevee, Leafeon, etc.? Thanks, Sir Beardachew. A creature that uses Whisker, Whip, and Fluff Shield, super effective against razors. Might as well get in on the action. That was a good one. So we got the Gem Pack Volume 2. This is the Chinese Horizons Eevee Booster Box. So you can just type in Gem Pack Volume 2. All right, next question is from @KX. Dear Mr. Beard, is the Gold Muse Celebrations in Raw and PSA 10 a good hold? I view it as a chase card for Celebrations and stocked up on it. Risky take, but not many people is talking about this card. So it'll probably go up for the 30th anniversary. I feel like pretty much all the Celebrations cards are definitely going to have a little spike. But there's a lot of these. There's 12,000 in a 10, 7,800 in a 9, 700 in an 8. So not very tough to grade. Last sold in a 10, 170, 180, 177. So it's definitely going up in price. This card was dirt cheap. I remember it being like 50, 60 bucks. It was $64 in May of 2024. Even in June, it was $97. Next is from Team Rocket Royce. Hey Beard, I recently picked up a special delivery Charizard in a CGC Gem Mint 10 for $200. I'm wondering if I should hold on to it or should I just use it for trade towards more booster boxes? Asking because it's not PSA and didn't know how the CGC market fluctuates. So anytime you can trade cards for sealed products, honestly, not a bad idea. And if you got it for $200, last sold 362, 330 best offer accepted, 350, 405. So, you know, it's gone up in price a little bit. Next is from a member @the Red Diamond. What's with all the Steam Siege hate? I looked at the set list and it seemed more than solid. Would you give us your insight opinions on the set? So it is a pretty solid set when you really look at it, like if you look at the top 10 cards. But people do not like Volcanion, and a lot of people hated the Mega cards. So when you're actually comparing every single set, the only two sets that's, you know, equal or worse than XY Steam Siege is the XY base set and Furious Fist. Otherwise, everything else is pretty stacked when you really look at it. Flashfire, you know, Charizards, Phantom Forces, Gengar, you know, even Generations is the Eeveelutions. Evolutions has Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur. Fates Collide has Alakazam and Umbreon. Roaring Skies has Rayquaza. You know, Primal Clash has Groudon and stuff. So Steam Siege is definitely one of the worst sets in the XY era. But it does have a few very, very nice cards. Those Gold Secret Rares are still so undervalued in my opinion. All right, next is from Kyle of White, a member. Hello, Mr. Beard, to be feared but never be sheared. I finally finished the Terrestrial Eeveelutions in 10s and I'm hoping to display them. Wondering if you could only invest in one of them from Prismatic, which will have the better return from current price to 2030 price. Thanks and appreciate you. Definitely probably the Umbreon, but you never know. Pokemon could change to where maybe 5-10 years down the road, Umbreon might not be the most popular evolution. We could get a new evolution that's more popular, or like Espeon could take the spot. Things can definitely change a little bit. Back in the day, I swear people liked Espeon a lot more than Umbreon. A lot of the vintage cards were even more expensive for Espeon than Umbreon. Next is from Jerry Sidekick. Why do you think Sword and Shield PC ETBs have such a high premium? They have a few extra packs and no promo, yet they go for far more money. Am I missing something, or do people think there are promos in there? So I kind of mentioned it before in the first question. They're just the only exclusive product you can get. And they also have the second most packs out of all the products, besides Ultra Premium Collections, but those usually have a variety, unless we're talking like 151. So yeah, that's why they're at that price, and the reason they're not more expensive than booster boxes like in the Scarlet and Violet era is because they don't have promos. Next is from Lewis. Hello Beard, I have both the Zacian and Zamazenta Premium Figure Collection box and was wondering considering selling them to fund a Chilling Reign booster box. I think this would be a good swap, but I'd like to hear your thoughts in case I'm missing something. Much appreciated. I like that idea, not to mention it takes up way less space. Next is from Dante Slanas. I probably butchered that. When you buy raw cards, do you only buy in person to be sure of condition, or do you order from TCG Player, eBay, so on? Thank you, Senor Beard Grande. So if I'm ordering like somewhat expensive cards, I'm definitely getting them on eBay just so I can see pictures. If I'm buying cards on TCG Player, they're going to be super low-end cards to where I don't care so much about if they do grade 10s or anything like that. But if I'm hunting for clean quality cards or expensive cards, I need pictures. All right, next question is from @JB Pokemon. What do you think about Chinese sets in the long run? Do you think it is going to be established that good that the Japanese and English market have a new competition? Or is it just a cheaper option like Korean is? Thank you. So I already like it a lot more than Korean, but if they keep up what they're doing and they keep giving us these beautiful exclusive cards, I think they're going to be here to stay for sure. Because I kind of like too how they're just giving us like a couple cards each set that are exclusive. They're not just pumping out a ton of stuff. But yeah, I'm a fan. All right, next is from @Histio. Beard Daddy Bossman. My 2-year-old recently climbed his way up and ripped a cardboard on one of my blooming water boxes. I only have 2 boxes. Should I sell the ripped one as a damaged box or open it and sell the loose packs? I've considered opening the packs, but me and my girlfriend have had absolutely terrible luck with 151. Well, you can only have bad luck for so long. Eventually, you're going to have some good luck. Usually, for me, when I get something that's just completely torn, me and my wife do like to open it. But it is 151, so the loose packs will be pretty solid. And there's so many box breakers right now that will buy loose packs up pretty easily. It just sucks that Blooming Water is just such a big product that it would suck to hold on to, especially if it's damaged. But, totally up to you. If you don't have a very big seal collection, you don't have very much 151, you might just want to hold on to those packs. Next is from @Zeke. Do you think investing in specific artists works is a good strategy to make money long term? If not, what do you believe is the biggest tell of a card's potential success? Buying in before the popularity? So definitely buying before they get popular. That's the biggest thing. That's why I mentioned, picking up subsets like the Radiant Collection. Just dirt cheap, super low risk. The cards look pretty nice. There's a little texture on them. You got Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur. That's why I love grabbing stuff like that. And then, let's say in the future they don't pop off. You didn't spend very much and you have all the Radiant cards and it looks really nice in a binder. Now, investing in specific artists, that can be a little bit risky. We've seen it quite a few times where an artist gets hyped up and then it comes right back down. So you kind of have to be a little careful doing that. But in my opinion, follow your gut. If you see an absolutely beautiful card and you think it's just wildly undervalued, pick it up. You never know, in the future it might pop off. Because if you're thinking that, the odds are there's a lot of other people also thinking that too. So just keep that in mind. And last question is from @Petter_VS. If you had $500 right now, would you keep it for something else or invest in Pokemon cards if you were a newer collector? Won't almost everything just go down in value from now? When is this hype period over so things can go down in price? And what products would you invest in? 151 booster bundles? So if I had $500, I would definitely still buy Pokemon. I'm always buying Pokemon. Now, a lot of the illustration rares and special illustration rares are very affordable right now. They're kind of back down to their normal prices to where, they got super hyped up. They were very, very expensive, and you can get so many beautiful illustration rares for dirt cheap. So there are still some cards that are very affordable to where even if the market cools off, you're not going to lose a ton of money or anything because we're talking a couple dollars here and there, stuff like that. Now, sealed product, that's a different story. And if I was spending $500 right now on sealed product, I'd probably buy Pokemon Center ETBs, to be honest. Otherwise, Sword and Shield stuff. And then, yeah, probably 151 because that is starting to get old. And then you could also just save all that money and just try to find your restocks at your Walmarts and Targets. In Minnesota, it's all on Friday at 10 to noon where they all get restocked at Walmart and Target and stuff. So, you definitely have some options there. But if you can get the stuff in store and get it for MSRP, that's going to be your best bet for sure. And just sit on it long term. But all right, that was today's What If Wednesday. If you guys do like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last Market Monday, which was a crazy one, we got a lot of movement, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.